Set up here. Oh, phone call. There we go. Ignore. Oh, now my phone's falling over. What's up, everybody? Hold on. I've got my phone balanced on something weird right now. All right. What's going on? It's me, Jason. Holy cow, it's been forever since I've done any streams. Right? Jason with DevSlopes. What's going on, everybody? Welcome, everybody, in Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. Welcome to the show. Yeah, it's been forever since I've been here. I've been busy with some other things, but I'm stoked to be back here doing some live streams. So I'm Jason with DevSlopes, full stack developer here at DevSlopes. Love to code stuff, specifically working with web technologies. What is the title of today's streams? Can programmers make $200K a year? Yes, they can. All right, so throw some hearts in the chats. Let's get this thing rolling. Yes, Mohammed, long time no see. So pretty crazy. I was in the hospital in the ICU for a month from COVID. It almost killed me, but I'm alive. I'm very resilient, but it was pretty crazy. I'm getting phone calls all over the place. But yeah, I made it. I'm alive. I still get a code, so it's all good. All good. What's up, Mr. Malone, Mohammed? What do we have here on Instagram? No sound. Sound, please. Dang it. Hold on. Hold the front door. Okay. Instagram. I'm not muted, but I did get phone calls. Let's see. Can anybody hear me? No sound. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to kill this stream, and we'll start it up again. Give me a moment, everybody. We're going to do this again. All right, I'm back, Instagram. I'm back. What's going on? So today we're just going to take some questions and everything, okay, about web development. Can programmers make $200K a year? That's what the title is of the live stream. So yes, I can answer to some of those questions as well. But let's get some comments going about coding, different technologies to use. If you're a beginner, what learning path should you take? So we'll do all of that. All right. So it looks like nice. People can hear me on Instagram. Fantastic. Goblin John. Hey, Jason, glad you're feeling better. Goblin John. Yeah, it's been forever. It's been a long time. So anyway, stoked to be here. Let's get some questions going. I'm going to hold the Instagram live stream. Man, this is pretty low cut, isn't it? All right, it's all good. It's all good. So here we've got a question on Instagram. JavaScript is hard. How to go about it? You know what? JavaScript is hard, and it does take time to learn. So a lot of people, they expect to get into JavaScript and to kind of know what's going on within like even 2 months. The reality is it's going to take 6 to 9 months to become proficient in JavaScript, to be confident enough to know what tools are available to you, how to utilize the different tools, solve different problems, and come up with some solutions. So JavaScript takes time. So in our web academy, I'm the web instructor and the coach and everything. And all of my students, they cruise pretty fast up to our module 5, and then module 6 and 7, we start JavaScript. And it's like everybody comes to a screeching halt. And they're like, oh, I'm so behind. I don't understand it. I don't get it. The reality is you're not behind. You're learning a brand new language. HTML, CSS is kind of easy to pick up, but JavaScript is pretty brutal, and it just takes time. You got to be patient. It's not that your brain's broken. Okay, it's not that you're lacking the intelligence to learn it. It just takes time, period. So good question. All right, we're going to do a few more Instagram questions, then we'll hop over here to YouTube. All right, let's see. How to be a game developer, can you explain? Yeah, so there's several ways to approach going about game development. So if I were a beginner, I would start out with something like Unity or like Unity 3D. It's a really cool game engine. And now with that, you're going to be learning C#. All right, so you can do C#. There are some games in JavaScript, but depending on the game developer you want to be, if you're using platforms like Unity, you could build cross-platform games. Or if you want to build games natively, you could use, you know, Kotlin for Android or iOS for iPhone apps. It just really depends on what type of game development you want to get into. But I really like Unity 3D because it comes with so many tools out of the box for building textures, different animations, lighting, worlds, things like that. All right. Sparrow Dan, Jason, welcome back. Thank you. Great to be back. Blair Jonathan 29, JavaScript certified. Do you think that is proficient enough to start Upwork freelancing? I would say so. I mean, there's I guess, okay, so here's the thing that I see. So I've gotten JavaScript you know, certificates in the past from passing certain little things, but when it comes down to it, it's just, are you proficient with JavaScript and can you build stuff that does stuff? But I mean, if you got a JavaScript certificate, you probably, you know, can work your way around JavaScript and problem solving. Yeah, I would say definitely get into some Upwork. Let's see. Sorry, guys, if the internet is a little bit laggy. Some of you have commented on that. So I moved south of Houston, like 40 miles south of Houston here in Texas. And so there's some crazy weather happening right now. So lots of thunder and lightning. It's great. Let's see. Yeah, boy, Sandro. Ideas on what I could do with C# that can make money. Well, you could do a lot of things with C#. So that's actually a really interesting question. Are you asking what you can do with C# because that's the programming language you've learned? Or is that the programming language that you think you should build everything with? Because you can make money with any programming language, anything that you want. It doesn't have to be C#, but I don't know if you like game development. C# is great for game dev if you want to get into Unity or something. Can I get a job without a computer science degree? Absolutely, Giant Steps, one you can. So I'm a self-taught developer myself, okay, web development, and I got a job. So prior to DevSlopes, I was a full stack engineer at Dell Computers. All right. And what's crazy is Dell Computers. So on their job listing, they said required computer science degree, 7 years of JavaScript and 5 years in React. Actually, no, it's not that much. 5 years in JavaScript, 3 years in React. Well, I only had 3 years in JavaScript, 1 year in React, and no computer science degree. But they interviewed me. I passed the tech interview on the phone, and then we did an in-person. They did some coding challenges with me, and then they reviewed my code and they liked my stuff. They thought I was a good fit for the team, so they hired me. So no, absolutely not. You don't need a computer science degree to get a job. And if you're a self-taught developer, don't only apply for jobs that say that it doesn't require a computer science degree. Apply for those jobs, okay? At the end of the day, all a company wants is they want someone who can code. Either you can or you can't. All right, so yeah, just apply for everything. All right, anyways, let's see. So be busy coding. Any ways to go about with React? Finished my full stack web development bootcamp, but didn't comprehend React a lot. So one of the great things with React, so I'm going to imagine or assume that maybe you did, like, if you're doing full stack, you learned JavaScript and stuff. The great thing with React is a lot of the syntax uses regular JavaScript. You're not learning anything like crazy new syntax or things like Angular, for an example. It's a fairly smooth transition. You can get started with React by, I mean, there's YouTube videos, but you can always go to React's website, reactjs.org, and check out the documentation, and they have some tutorials to get started. Or if you want the fast track, you can go to devslopes.com/apply and apply for the DevSlopes Academy. All right, I'm the instructor, mentor, and coach, and I will sprint with you through the entire, as fast as you want to go. I'll sprint with you through the program, and I will work with you until you get a job and until you get paid. All right. So go to devslopes.com/apply. All right. What else do we have? Sparrow says, I'm going to start the Web Dev Academy the 18th of this month. What do you suggest? Well, the 18th of this month has surpassed. Today is September 28th. Perhaps you mean October 18th. So Sparrow, what I would do is once you're into our academy, stay active in Discord. All right. We've got, you know, like lots of students and everything. And those who are the most active in our Discord chat and they're posting code questions. It doesn't matter how dumb you think the question is. All right. Everybody's learning. There's no dumb question. Be active in the Discord chat. Okay. Ask questions, reach out to me when you post projects. I will be personally submitting them or personally reviewing and grading them. So I'll be your mentor and coach. But all right, let's take some questions from YouTube here. All right, how we doing, everybody? My hands are getting so tired holding Instagram. I need to buy a second tripod. All right, Mohammed, where to start for Flutter Dev? You could do YouTube videos. You could go to their documentation and build some starter apps. We don't teach Flutter yet in the DevSlopes Academy, but I mean, as long as you have a solid or a basic understanding of coding and programming, it's not, I don't want to say it's easy, but I mean, if you know programming, you can pick up syntax for Flutter and such. Oh, hopefully I'm not frozen on YouTube. This internet is acting up a little bit. Instagram username, please. DevSlopes. DevSlopes is on Instagram. Roblo Exion Donut, something. Oh, your name just vanished. Hold on, let me find you. You asked a good question. Can you make coding tutorials? Absolutely. So I've already made a bunch of coding tutorials, and so has other DevSlopes team members. They're on our YouTube channel. So if you go to just, you know, the DevSlopes YouTube channel, click on videos or playlists, you'll find tons of coding tutorials. Also, if you want the fast track to learn how to code, go to devslopes.com/apply. Apply for one of the academies. If you check out the Web Academy, I'll be your personal coach and mentor. I'd be happy to work with you until you get paid and land work. Let's see. Is DevSlopes Academy for me if I already know programming but want to start learn freelancing? Yeah, so McCall, absolutely. We have people in the academy that have experience programming, and they just need to brush up on their skills. And like I've personally freelanced for 1.5 years and made, you know, a bunch of money doing freelancing. I landed one project for $100,000, paid out $100,000 just over 9 months. So yeah, and there's a bunch of other developers in there that are freelancers, so you can network with everybody, brush up on your programming skills, and we do career prep and freelancing and all that stuff if you want to learn how to do that. But what I would do is, McCall, go to devslopes.com/apply, and you'll be able to schedule a call with one of our coaches, and you can ask them some of these questions, and they will be able to elaborate more on it. So yeah, do that. Let's see, Gary, do companies ever tell you to do machine learning if you get into them as a full stack dev? Well, it's kind of different. So like full stack dev, usually you're doing like web development, right? Like a full stack, like the MERN stack or the mean stack, something like that. Machine learning is a little bit different and uses a different technology. And usually when you're applying for the companies, it'll be specific. They'll say, hey, we want a full stack web developer, or hey, we're building a product with machine learning. You have to know technologies X, Y, and Z. All right, so it just depends. Robloxian Donut, I love your videos. Thank you. Thank you. Cool. Let's take some questions here from Instagram. Let's see. Can a beginner learn Flutter? Yes, you can. There's going to be a little bit of a steeper learning curve, Corpsey Zombie. If you're just jumping into Flutter for the first time, there's things with programming that you should really learn some of the basics first before diving into Flutter. Because the thing about programming is you want to take, especially when you're new, is you want to take incremental steps. Otherwise, you're going to hit extreme learning curves, roadblocks, and you're going to get frustrated. And more than likely, you're going to quit if you don't have some type of like support or somewhere that you can ask questions and stuff. I would start with a different programming language if I were you. But again, I'm not saying you can't dive into Flutter. You can. There just might be a little bit of a steeper learning curve there. Can you tell me how to place a rectangle in the center of an iframe? That's, you could Google it, but you could do this. Let's see. So it depends. A rectangle inside of it, huh? So I would put a div container around the iframe. I would put a position relative on it. And then you're going to put the iframe inside of your div container. And then underneath the iframe, you could add your rectangle. All right. I don't know how this is relevant, but you can add the rectangle, and then you can put a position absolute on it, and then use a transform XY position and do your negative positive junk. And yeah, it should center it, because you need it to flow over the iframe, I imagine, is what you're saying. So that's my pseudocode in my brain. Figuratively, in theory, I think that should work. Yeah. Flutter or React Native, which to choose? That's a great question. I think it's up for opinion. I personally would choose Flutter. I've done both. I've done Flutter and React Native. React Native is 10 times more of a pain to get your project up and running, where Flutter just works out of the box. I did a YouTube video building an application like a to-do app with Flutter. And I kid you not, it was like 4 hours of setup to build an app that took me 40 minutes. And I did it in Flutter. I was up and running in 10 minutes. And, you know, it took the same 30, 40 minutes to build the app. So they're both great technologies, but I personally would use Flutter. I think it's funner to work with. It's easier to get up and running. Android or iOS, which one is more difficult? So that's a great question. I will say this. iOS development in general is much easier to pick up, because Apple has done such a fantastic job with like Xcode, their code editor, that it does so much heavy lifting out of the box for you. All right. Like everything that Xcode does under the hood, it handles so much stuff. Whereas with like Android, there are toolkits that you can use, and Kotlin is way easier than Java. But at the end of the day, iOS is easier. But you've got to have a MacBook if you're doing iOS apps. With a MacBook, you can do iOS or Android. All right. But yeah, you have to cough up some money if you're going to do iOS. So, Mohammed, that is what I have to say about that. Big fan from India. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see. We've got 10 more minutes here. Which part that I need to focus on to make a website? Stores like Nike.com. You have to focus on everything because you've got everything from the front end, right? From what the user sees and interacts with. And then you've got the back end to manage, you know, back-end data like user accounts and if there's products, things of that nature. Now, if you're making a website like where people can purchase stuff, you can use integrations like Shopify that help take out the entire back-end craziness and do all your user account securities and the transaction APIs to make sure that people could do secure checkout and the whole abandoned cart shenanigans. But if you want to make a website from scratch like Nike.com, full stack development, you've got to learn front end and back end. Let's see, Bell Sweat 91. Are there any community suggestions? Maybe you just answered with Discord. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Are there any community suggestions? Are you looking for a programming community? Is that what you're looking for, like a Discord channel? I'm not sure. Do you recommend iOS or Web Dev Academy? It's okay. So that's a good question. That completely depends on you. So here's something interesting. So I'm a self-taught developer. Okay. When I wanted to get into programming, I wanted to be an iOS developer, hands down. iOS apps, that was like what all the cool kids did. That's what I wanted to do. All right. But my first take at programming, I did a full stack web development boot camp, did the mean stack. Mongo, Express, Angular, and Node. All right. And I got into web development and I stuck with that for a while before transitioning fully over into iOS. But then I learned React, and then I fell in love with web development. I just fell flat out in love with it. Now I went back and I tried iOS development. I did a few apps and everything. It was cool. It was fun. But my passion and where I found the most excitement and joy was in web development. So it depends on what you want to do with programming. Do you want to build apps? Or do you want to build like web apps and websites, things like that? So it completely depends on what you want to do. And you have to pick a learning path that you're going to stay interested in. If I would have stuck with iOS like I originally planned to, I would have eventually gotten bored. But web development really hooked my interest. Let's see. What is the cost of JavaScript on DevSlopes Academy? So the Web Academy is full stack. Like we cover HTML, CSS, JavaScript, ES6, React, websites built in vanilla JavaScript, all that fun stuff. The backend, we cover Mongo, Express, how to build APIs, deployment, all that stuff. So we don't have a specific JavaScript one. However, we do have the 30-day coding challenge for JavaScript, which is fantastic. That's $100 to enroll. You can go to 30daycodechallenge.com and check out the JavaScript 30-day code challenge. Let's see, Medina, will you guys also be mentors? Yes, I am one of the mentors and coaches for the DevSlopes Academy. I will personally review your code, critique it, give you feedback, and work with you until you have a job and you get paid. All right, that's what we do. All right, we've got a couple more minutes here. I'm going to switch over to YouTube for a second. Let's take some questions here. Let's see. Kato or Coyote, I don't know how to pronounce that. Which language is best for backend? I would say there isn't a best programming language. It depends on like what are you using for the client side. All right. There's a lot of great backend technologies. What I've always favored is, since I do web development, I've always favored Mongo and Express, because the cool thing is with web development, you already know JavaScript. All right. So making that transition into backend development, you can use Node to write server-side code, and you don't have to go learn any like Python or PHP or something to write server-side code. You can just do it in JavaScript with Node, and then I use Mongo for the backend and Express for the middleware and all that stuff. So I use Node and Mongo for the backend, but there's a lot of great technologies out there. It just depends. Quantum Quack, do you use any JavaScript libraries for front end? I do. Now, one of the things about using like these NPM packages, like different libraries, is first off, I try to do everything from scratch if I can. Because a lot of the times these NPM packages, they are packed with all the bells and whistles, and they'll bloat your project. You might need one tiny little piece of functionality from it, but you don't need the rest of the junk. And so you're just bloating your project with extra code that you don't need. But yeah, I'll use JS libraries for sure. And if I don't need the whole package, I'll actually go to the NPM package, find the source code on GitHub, and then I'll actually sift through the code and find the specific feature that I need to kind of help give me some guidance or direction about what it is that I need to code. Let's see, can I still through DevSlopes school if I haven't done anything since April? I think you're missing a word in there. Where is Dave today? But yeah, you can still do DevSlopes if you haven't done anything since April. Let's see, why does Mark always recommend to use Loom to contact clients? Why not just use standard Google Apps? I mean, you can, I'm sure you can, but the cool thing with Loom videos is they're very personal, and it kind of gives you more face value with the client, builds a better rapport, makes it more personable. And Loom is super easy to use. It's free. That's what we use in DevSlopes Academy. Especially, it's cool if students are like asking questions. They can, screen record their screen, talk through their code, whatnot. But I've also used it in the past when I've done freelance work and reached out to clients. Let's see, McCall. I love both front end and UI design. Which one should I choose? That I cannot decide your future for you. You should choose whichever one you have the most interest in. Now, what's cool is if you knew a little bit of both. So we've got someone here at DevSlopes, Andre. He's a UI designer by trade. That's what he's done his whole life. But he's learning web development, like front end development, and he absolutely loves it because everything he's designing, he can finally bring to life and actually code out, which is really cool. Let's see. How much do you need to learn for freelancing with game development? Well, you got to be able to build games. To put it simply, can you build a game that's full stack? You've got to know front end and back end of the game technology. And if you can do that, if you can ask yourself, can I build a full stack game without following a tutorial? Then yeah, you can do it. Can programmers make 200K a year? Yes, in US only. Yeah, definitely. Now, making 200K a year with programming, most of the time you're going to be able to do that freelancing. Now, there are some cases, like for example, a React developer. I've seen salaries anywhere from like 80,000 to, I think I've seen it top out at around 140,000. But that 200,000 mark, if you're freelancing, yeah, I mean, I closed a job when I was freelancing. This was a couple of years back, and it paid out $100,000 over 9 months. I thought that was kind of cool. So Randy, 41 years old, too old to start coding? Absolutely not. You can start coding at any age. So I think our oldest student in one of our academies, I don't remember which academy he's in, I think he's like 57. And I'm pretty sure he's in our iOS academy, and he's already submitting apps to the App Store, and he's making money. And I knew he was doing a lot of freelance work, getting paid for that. He may have landed a job by now too. Not 100% sure. I'm in charge of Web Academy. So, all right, I'm going to take like 2 more questions here. I'm going to take one from Instagram, and then I'm going to take one from YouTube. And I apologize, everybody else. I'm not going to be able to get to your questions. But if you're interested in programming and you want to take the fast track and you want to work with somebody like me with a mullet and wears the snapback, I'll be your mentor and your coach. Check out the Web Academy. And you can go to devslopes.com/apply. All right, let's check out some questions here. I'm just going to scroll through this and pick one from Instagram. Let's see. Gersa, you want to learn front-end web development? Is it difficult to start? No, it's not difficult to start. Go to devslopes.com/apply. Check out the Web Academy or check out some YouTube videos. Let's see. Let's see. Holy cow, there's a lot of questions here. I'm not going to be able to get to all of this. Okay, this is a good question. I don't know how to pronounce this. Iapatas. I've been waiting to ask you why you said introverts cannot do freelance. Okay, it's very difficult to do freelance work because here's the thing is if you're an introvert, traditionally that means you're not very comfortable talking to people, or you might be a little bit awkward, or you just don't find joy or pleasure or have any desire to talk to other humans, okay? I'm not saying all introverts are like that. There's different levels of introvert, okay? But the thing is, when you're working with a client wants to work with a person, okay? You have to be able to sell your ability and your skills. You're going to be the one that's communicating with the client, and clients want to talk with someone that is pleasant, easy to talk to, easy to communicate with, and especially since you have to sell yourself, all right? Sell your skills, say, hey, this is why you should choose me. You've got to have some people skills. And a lot of the times introverts, they don't have people skills because they don't like talking to people. And like I said, that doesn't go for everybody. I'm not saying freelance work is impossible if you're an introvert, but you got to have some people skills. All right. Got to sell your skills. All right. One more question here. All right, I'm just going to answer this question. How long is it going to take to be a front-end developer and get paid by working as a freelancer? Any tips to boost it? It really depends on the person. So I know people who have done, been learning to code for like 6 months and then started doing freelance work. Okay. Me personally, I did one of these 12-week software development boot camps. 2 weeks after I graduated the boot camp, I was already doing contract work and I was doing freelance work. That's just me. We've got people in the Web Academy already. They're about a third of the way through. All right. They haven't even finished it or even gotten onto JavaScript, moved on to the JavaScript portions yet. And they're already doing freelance work and they've made $1,000 or more. And these are people who have been in the academy for maybe just over a month or something. All right. So it really depends. You can start freelance work as soon as you feel confident enough to build something. And most of the students for the Web Academy, for an example, once they do HTML, CSS, they'll start freelancing and doing static web pages, which is basically just a page like a landing page for a business, right? Just some basic information, things like that, and then like a contact form. So it really kind of depends on the type of freelance work that you're taking on. All right, so that's a wrap for today's live stream. Again, I'm Jason with devslopes.com. If you are curious about programming or you're a beginner, or you just want to brush up skills, anything like that, and you'd like a coach and a mentor to help push you along, go check out devslopes.com/apply. Set up a free call with one of our mentors and career path coaches, and they'll answer all your questions, get you set up if you feel like DevSlopes is a good fit for you. If you want to check out one of DevSlopes' 30-day coding challenges, we have it for Swift and for JavaScript. Go to 30daycodechallenge.com and check it out. I think the next challenge starts in a couple of days. You'll just have to go to the website, 30daycodechallenge.com, and see when the new challenge starts. All right. Jason with devslopes.com. Stay safe. Out.